जयपुर वाया कोटा
कृपया ध्यान आपो अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत.
Lucknow Junction.
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವ ರೈಲು
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন कृपया ध्यान दियो
We're all set for a Friday night blockbuster because Chennai take on Hyderabad at the Chepauk. Hello and welcome to Cricbuzz Live. My name is Saiyami Kher. I have two legends in the house. One whose cover drive I absolutely loved and the other's line and length I was completely in awe of. But both these legends are now on a Hindi learning spree. Please welcome Michael Vaughan and Shaun Pollock. Okay, Michael, first you. Did you remember what you were taught yesterday?
Oh, was it tukka?
Not bad. So he learned a new word and you've learned a whole lot of new words.
Do you know what tukka is?
Miche, piche, upar, aage,
Go on then, what's that mean?
up, down, backwards, forward,
like
ikdukia.
Yeah, that's the nice one. The dukya is should I
Means
punch you?
So the little Mumbai Indians boys used to say it to each other when they were playing. You know, you play games, warm up, and if they were thought that the one was cheating, ikdukia. Like, what does this mean? It says, I'll give you one.
Well, he learned one word which is very useful when we do our prediction game. It means tukka, which is just a guess.
Okay.
Because he got some of the predictions right yesterday, so there's competition.
I don't think he got the prediction of 125.
Oh. We didn't, we were far
No,
away.
78 out.
And that they'd win it off the last ball or something like that.
Yeah, we were 100 runs away from that prediction, but we can forget what happened yesterday because we know it's going to be an exciting game today. Whenever Mahendra Singh Dhoni takes to the field, we know there's going to be excitement. So Chennai take on Hyderabad at the Chepauk. Chennai is coming off that win against RCB and Hyderabad has lost to MI. We'll just have a look at the results and see what the teams have done so far. But Chennai is 3 on the points table while Hyderabad's 9. They've had those 3 wins and Hyderabad's had those 3 losses. Pretty much everything going right for Dhoni. Whenever he comes in with that magic wand, things just work for him in his army.
Yeah, I mean, he's a great player, and obviously I was a bit surprised by the fact that he didn't come in the last game. But they'll be happy about getting over the line against Bangalore. They probably shouldn't have won that. When you think of the situation Bangalore found themselves, Faf was going strong. He was there at the crease with Maxwell. It just kind of needed a cool head, and they would have been put under immense pressure. And their bowling lineup relatively inexperienced because of the injuries that they had and some of the guys they introduced. So to have taken the points and now be heading home, it'll make them a happy camp.
Michael, considering some of their star players have been injured because there's Ben Stokes who's been sitting out and of course Deepak Chahar also was out. Dhoni always manages to get those troops all ready for match day and well wins.
Yeah, I mean, and the loss to Rajasthan was only by 3 runs. They lost the first game, and that could have been 4 wins on the trot. You know, when you've got MS Dhoni behind the stumps, he's not batting that often these days, but I think he gives them 10 or 15 in the field with the way that he captains still. I still think he's got that minus touch out in the middle where he can manoeuvre field. He puts the bowls on at the right time. I still think he's got that aura. You know, I just seen him walking down the steps with his shirt off, ready to go, and you can see all the cameras, all the supporters are chanting his name. And when the opposition see that, you know, Harry Brook is a young player, and I know Harry Brook will be looking at it's MS Dhoni. You know, it's MS, the great, legendary Indian ex-captain. So I do think he still brings a huge amount of aura with him, and Chennai are a good team. I think they've got pretty much everything covered. A bit of inside info. Stokes is meant to play tonight. I don't think he will be playing. He's got a little issue with his toe, which might put him out for another few days. But Ben Stokes was down to play tonight, but he had a bit of a problem with that toe again.
Oh, we've got
I told you the South African would bat yesterday.
We spoke about you.
Like there's another one just resting for the World Cup or something. Anyway.
I'm going to love this banter because I'm very excited for more banter considering when Harry Brooks comes on, there's going to be a whole lot of banter. But you know, you guys would know this better than anyone. Cricket can be really a brutal game. It can be very cruel at times. It can be a leveler. It can just, you know, when you're riding high, it can get you low because it's such a leveler. But it's those people who kind of stand strong, they're confident, they come out stronger when challenges are thrown at them. And we call these men the men of platinum. So this IPL, we've been going through an elite list of men of platinum who've been very inspiring. Their journey has been very inspiring. These men of platinum actually have values which inspire just normal people like me. Values like resilience, courage, perseverance, hard work. It just is so inspiring for people who want to take up a sport or just even people who don't play sport. So today's one such man of platinum is the flying all-rounder from CSK, Ravindra Jadeja. His character is as rare as platinum. Jadeja is someone who has always shown that courage, because he was touted to be a superstar by Shaun Pollock, and boy, he became this big superstar. He's gone through his ups and downs. He was called a bits and pieces player, but he's come out very strong, and he's been a man of platinum for India.
Yeah, I mean, the rock star, the man of platinum, what a name to give to Ravi Jadeja, a player that pretty much offers everything. You call him a three-dimensional cricketer. Bowls terrifically, bowls in the power play, bowls in the middle, can give it a rip, fires it in, bowls over the wicket, round the wicket. With the bat in hand, he can play all the kind of innings. He can go in the last few balls and hit sixes. He can play the controlled innings in the middle. I remember that great Test 100 he got in England with Rishabh Pant. So he can play the longer format. He can play 50 overs. He can play. Yeah, he's got a nice celebration with his wand.
With his platinum wand.
Yeah. He's got. He's courageous as well. He's always showing lots of courage. He's pretty much got everything. I think he's a tremendous cricketer. Any single cricket team in the world would want someone like Ravi Jadeja.
Shaun, Graham Smith said this when he wasn't captain anymore for CSK, and then he came back into the team. Graham Smith said that it was he's shown a lot of courage to come back into the team and become this team man, which he has become.
Yeah, it's not easy to relinquish the captaincy and then still come back and play your part. So you have to be a man of platinum with a bit of courage. He's also had to dodge a few injuries. There's been a lot of injuries that he's been exposed to in the latter part of his career, and those aren't really easy to deal with. You have to dig deep. You have to get into your character and show courage to come back and be able to perform again. And he's been able to do that. And the thing about it is you can lose your confidence. When you're out to the side, you watch the others performing, and you're waiting to get back in, you can start to think, well, I wonder if my place is in jeopardy. But every time he comes back, he shows the courage to perform again. So, yeah, definitely. If there's men of platinum cards from the RPL, he'll be one of them.
Well, last week we asked y'all who your man of platinum was, and y'all unanimously said it's Rinku Singh. So thank you for voting in. We will be having more such contests, so definitely tune into this space. But just Ravindra Jadeja is someone who I've always admired because he just brings so much spirit to the team. He's someone who's always there. Is even that Test series against Australia, his thumb was completely bandaged up. He took injections in and he came in. So he's just someone who's always there. You can go to Jadeja and he will do some magic.
Yeah, I reckon there's only a small few players in the world that you kind of watch and see and go, he'd get into every single team. Maybe not into every single 11, but every single 12 or 13 because of the quality that he brings and because he can pretty much play in all conditions. He's got that ability to play the moving ball. He's got the ability to obviously strike the straight balls, the spinners, the quicks, electric in the field. He probably saves 7 to 10 runs in the field. He's like a gazelle. He's got a bullet arm. He catches everything. He can manoeuvre and just make a run out of nothing because he's that quick. So he's a brilliant cricketer. I just like his character as well. He seems to bring he's got a load of horses. That's right.
Yes, he does. He's into a lot of horses.
Yeah, I like that. I like cricketers that have got another hobby. He seems to have I think he's got a few dogs as well, so I like that. I like someone that likes animals.
And he likes films as well because there was a famous film called Pushpa.
Can't speak to you then, can he?
Yeah.
No, I'm no good. But I've seen him doing a few adverts lately. I mean, there's more than enough of those. I can't understand the Hindi, so I don't know what he's saying.
You'll be getting into your game soon.
We'll teach you as and when we finish this IPL. You'll be completely well versed with what Jadeja is talking about. But I can go on talking about him. But we will talk about today's game on hand as well. Chennai's won the toss. They've decided to bowl first. So we will have a look at their playing 11. And we've got the inside information that Stokes is not in. But Akash Singh is in. That's the only change that they have. This is their bowling 11. But I was surprised that Santner doesn't play. I was expecting him to be in for Tikshana.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that. Particularly bowling to Harry Brook in the first 6. I thought they might have looked to use him in the power play. Whether the pitch is slightly different to what they expected, I'm not too sure. But Santner's figures are pretty good. His economy is very, very low. He pretty much always seems to do a job. So he doesn't always get the 3s and the 4 wickets, but he's generally always going at under 7s and building dots. Just look at those figures there. The economy's not gone over 8 yet. Always getting the dots, 1 for 21, 2 for 28. They're great returns. And against Mumbai as well, that's a terrific return. I like him as a cricketer. He offers a bit with the bat, very good in the field. So I'm not saying he's Jadeja standard, but he's certainly a very high-class cricketer. I certainly would have been playing against Harry Brook today.
Yeah, I think when you look at it, you wonder at the reasons why. You kind of try and get into the camp of Chennai. The only thing that comes to my mind, which could be the case, is that with Sunrisers, they've got the 3 international batters. And because he's maybe got a little bit of mystery, I mean, they've seen him before. It's not like they haven't seen him. But often is a case in point where they think, well, because they're the international batters, maybe they won't be able to pick the variations as well as stock standard Santner, who they would kind of play against most days. So that could maybe be the only real option. And you have got Jadeja turning it away. But when we looked at his records in the green room before coming on, it looked exceptional. And he offers you a bit of an option with the bat as well, which is more than Tekshana. So surprised, but we do know the other trend of Chennai. Do they ever change a team? Hardly ever.
Well, I know there was a little bit of, I was not too happy seeing that because Conway was actually, wicket-keeping practice was going on a few days ago, and that kind of raised those rumours of whether Dhoni is going to keep or not keep, but it's all's well that ends well when we see Dhoni's name in there. We'll have a look at Hyderabad's playing 11 as well and see if they've gone ahead with any changes. Umran Malik is back in. He was a little expensive, which is why he was dropped, and Natarajan has been dropped in place of Umran Malik.
Yeah, that's not a surprise. Natarajan he's been battling a little bit. I mean, ever since that knee injury and he's come back, what he was known for was his gun Yorkers, and he could produce them at will. If you've watched his last 2 games at the back end and the death overs, he hasn't quite been able to hit those areas, and he's been a bit expensive. So I think that option of Umran Malik, run up with the extra gas he's got, hit back of a length on that surface, doesn't always carry through as nice, and he could be a handful. So I must admit, I'm not surprised by that. I was left after the last game when we watched Natarajan. I thought to myself, he'll be a little bit under the spotlight after that performance, because his main skill that he gets picked for all the time is those death overs, and he hasn't quite been able to
On paper, that looks a tremendous side.
On paper, Hyderabad just looks so good, but I don't know why they don't look good on the points table, because they are down at number 9.
I think it's purely to do with the fact that it's a new group. It's a lot of new players trying to work out each other's kind of strengths, weaknesses, trying to get partnerships. You need partnerships in T20 cricket. Harry Brook's now gone to the top of the order. It worked with his century. That middle order looks powerful. Markram's a wonderful T20 player. Klassen as well, real strikers of a cricket ball and great options with the ball. So I just think it's just the fact that you've thrown in quite a few new individuals together, and it takes time to develop that culture around the side. Brian Lara's a new coach as well, so he's just finding his feet. He's a legend of the game. He's finding his feet as a head lead coach. I wouldn't rule them out though, because they look like they've got the skill levels that could go on a winning run that could clearly get them to the elimination stage. And once you get to that stage, anything's possible.
And I like their spinning options as well on the surface, where I think even someone like a Markram might have a part to play. So they got most bases covered.
Well, Nitish Rana came to the party yesterday, so we can hope that Markram gets in those 4. But
he was the one who impressed me in that game. I was like, where's he been? It's like, just because they've got Chakravarti and they've got Nareen, I was like, he bowled a little cannonball there. It's like,
come on, Polly. He was bowling to Delhi.
Well, okay, but he was still doing a decent job of it.
Hyderabad's bowling to CSK today, but I'm a little surprised that Akil Hussain's not given a shot yet, because they've gone ahead with Washington Sundar again, who I'm glad they're backing, because he's just not, I feel, not had enough with the bat. He's not had enough time with the bat, but he's not really been able to pick any wickets with the ball. Yeah,
I mean, Vaughan's touched on the fact that they're a relatively new side getting together. What you do have to create is a little bit of consistency. And when there's chopping and changing, everyone's going around that dressing room not knowing what's on the go. So I actually like the fact that they're stuck. I think he's fantastic. I think he'll bowl in that power play. Conway will be his target as soon as he's on strike. I'm sure he'll come in that first 6. And he's got that ability to strike it. We've seen him play a few good knocks for India, never mind anyone else. So, yeah, I still like him as a cricketer. He's tall too. He gets that ball to bounce, which is sometimes key if you can do a bit of that.
He's got enough in the bank. And what I mean by that is that when you've played so well for a period, if you have 3 or 4 iffy games, you've obviously not got wickets yet, but he's got so much history of doing well that I think they know that if he has one or two good games, he'll probably flourish and have a number of good games. He's a match winner.
Yes.
You know, he's one of those players that could win a match for you, so you certainly want to stay consistent with that. I like, you know, Chennai because of their consistent selection. I like the Sunrisers because they're being consistent. On the other alternative, KKR just seem to be the opposite. They just keep swapping and changing, which I prefer the consistency. I think consistency develops a better culture around the team because, you know, as soon as you get an opportunity, it's not just going to be one opportunity, it might be 3 or 4. And in T20 cricket, I think if you get 3 or 4 games, you back yourself to have an impact in one of those 4 games. If you're just getting a game here or there every now and again, it's very, very difficult to find that kind of confidence.
Talking about impact, who's the impact players? What's the list?
We will see the list of impact players once it comes in because it always takes some time with the number of lists that have to keep coming and going. So we'll have a look at them once they come in. There's someone who's actually grabbed the opportunity with both hands and really done well is Mayank Markande. He's somebody who looked very good. His numbers speak highly of what he's done this season.
Yeah, they have. I mean, he's hit the ground running for them as well, and I'm sure he'll be loving the thought of playing here in Chennai today because he'll get that assistance, he'll get the ball to purchase, and he's the main man. You know, they're backing him, and he's feeling part of it. You know, the other franchises, he's kind of had those limited chances where he comes and he thinks, am I the guy? Am I going to play a long time? Whereas I think they'll give him a full run, and he seems to be confident about what he's doing.
You know,
he's keeping Rashid out of the side as well. Adil Rashid is a wonderful leg spinner. Done so well for England over many, many years. It's his first chance at the IPL, so to keep someone like Adil Rashid in, it helps them picking some of the other foreign players. So he's done nicely. He's a clever bowler.
He's actually spoken about how domestic cricket really helped him, which always feels so nice when there are cricketers who credit domestic cricket because there's not enough credit given to domestic cricket. He said that, you know, bowling on flat tracks where he used to go on and bowl those 30 overs every day, he said that's kind of given him the confidence because he's been around in the IPL for some time. He was with MI, went to RR, now he's found his foothold in Hyderabad. But how much of domestic cricket is really helping IPL is an interesting angle there.
Yeah, I think rhythm, particularly from a bowling perspective, also batting. I mean, a lot of these guys now, they get into the T20 competitions and that's kind of all they play. And then they rock up, have a few nets and expect to be able to go. Whereas from a bowling perspective and a batting perspective, time at the crease, just learning about yourself, just playing without having to try and force the issue, bowling lots of overs. I must admit, in my international time, I always enjoyed it when it was test matches followed by the one-days afterwards because you felt like you'd done your work. You know, you put the overs in, your body was feeling good, the rhythm was there, and then you just try and settle into the different skills. Whereas it's the other way, it's hard. And that's what I think with this 2020 stuff is that they rock up sometimes a bit underdone. Whereas he's clearly saying that he felt like his body was ready to go and his rhythm was good.
Just on that underdone, I know that MS Dhoni didn't play any cricket leading into the IPL. And the boys in the Chennai camp saw him arrive for his first net. I thought, oh, this will be funny. This will be a bit rusty. And he just smashed it out the ground. Just whacking it into the stand.
The boys in the camp. The whole stadium was full for one of the practices. That's what he does. And, well, the muscle that he's got on this season, he really wants to hit it hard.
Yeah, well, that's pretty much what he's done for a year. Gone to the gym, pumped a bit of iron, then got the bat in his hands, and that'll do.
Well, Paulie,
he's gone to the driving range.
Yeah, maybe he's going to his golf.
Yeah, we spoke about this. Yeah. I was glad I got that. I always wanted to know why it helps, but I've got my answer to it thanks to Cricbuzz.
Do you play golf?
No, hopefully. I'll learn. One sport at a time.
You've
tennis.
seen a cover drive.
So, well, you should go back to who's batting and who's going to be impressive, but because you asked for the impact list,
yes,
our producers have been very quick with it today. They said we'll keep our impact list ready.
Ooh.
Okay, who do you all see coming in?
It's going to be Raidu, right? So Chennai bowling first. Raidu.
And Natarajan coming in?
Yeah, that probably could be an option for them, depending on. Yeah, I don't see Samit being introduced unless they get off to a bad start. But yeah, I think actually Natarajan, I'm sure maybe he's just actually been in the last few days working on his death bowling, and they bring him in later on and just say you just concentrate on bowling the other 2 overs rather than the ones in the middle. But it would make sense to have that extra option depending on how the surface plays.
Well, Hyderabad's coming into bat first, and there's that one star name right up there, Harry Brook. Michael's spoken very highly of him. You tweeted in your many entertaining tweets, one of your tweets said that kids want to grow up to become Joe Root. Now kids will want to grow up to become a Harry Brook.
Yeah, I mean,
He plays for which county?
Well, yeah, Yorkshire seem to have produced a few.
Oh, okay. So is that why he's sticking up for him? Then?
No, not at all. I just say he's been a revelation.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I actually saw him when he was a young kid, and he used to bat similar to Joe Root. You know, when he was young, he couldn't hit it off the square. He used to kind of knurl it around, and then he suddenly went to the Pakistan Super League, and he started whacking the ball to all parts. So T20 franchise cricket has really helped his game. I actually tweeted that the best player that I played with, well, Triscothick at the top of the order I thought was tremendous, but Kevin Peterson was the best I played with. And the way that Kevin batted was real dominance towards the ball. He used to just say, right, I don't care what your name is, I don't care really what the conditions are, I'm going to try and dominate you. And Harry's the first player that I've seen play for England that plays similar shots to what Kevin did.
Wow.
You know, so I'm not saying he's at Kevin's standards yet, but he's the first I've seen play for England in all formats of the game. And he walks out to bat and I go, oh, there's a bit of KP in that. He's got that swagger. He dances down, he's got that drive down the ground, he's got that whip through mid-wicket, and he's got that presence, big chap. You know, Kev's a big chap. And I can only imagine when bowlers run up and they see this big chap, his bat looks wide. It's the same width as most players, but it just looks wide, and he's just got that gift to be able to play cricket and make it look very, very easy, which he's going to have a moment where it doesn't go all his way. In the last 6 months that he's been in the England side, he's scored hundreds for fun, and it's all gone his way. It's been great to see, and he had that little dip. You know, I think the challenge of playing in the IPL is a good challenge for him. His first 3 games was where it didn't go so well. He spoke about the pressure of the IPL being completely different, and then the next game he gets 100. Yeah. So he's got a bit of steel, he's got a bit of flair, and I think we're going to see plenty of him over the next few years.
I think also the timing of when he's come in, not only the way he's played in the 2020 competitions, also coming into England's side, and you've got Brendan McCullum there, who's almost encouraging that mindset. You know, in the past you might have come in and the guy said, well, rein yourself in, this is now international cricket, get stuck in, apply your technique. Whereas McCullum's almost gone the other route, and it's been very fruitful for him, because it was Pakistan in particular where that international tests, he was brilliant.
Well, I know the England Test captain Ben Stokes, Ben basically sends around videos. So if he sees a shot in county cricket, so Ollie Pope last week played a shot where around the wicket, I don't know who was bowling, someone fast, bowled him a bounce, and he steps over to the and he's kind of just flapped it over the keeper's head for 6. Ben Stokes sent that video around saying that's the way to play. What? Ben Duckett yesterday was batting at Lords in a 4-day game, round the wicket, bowled a ball at 80 miles an hour, there's 3 slips in a gully, bowled length, he got down and just swept it to fine leg for 4. Ben Stokes sent it around, that's the way we're playing. So if you play this way, Ben Stokes is not going to be, he's not going to have you around. You've got to play all the tricks and the flicks. You're getting his team.
No, but the test you're talking about, it felt like Harry Brook was playing like 8 T20s in the day, because he just went for it. It didn't feel like a test match at all. It felt like a T20 in whites. That's how he was playing.
This England test match team, they're a different. I don't know any of the team that sits in the dressing room and apparently goes, right, who's going to get the quickest 100? Who's going to get it? That is the kind of the language in the dressing room. And if someone gets one off 75 balls, they'll be like, well, you've got to get one off 60. Come on, try and do it. And it's a competition to see who can hit the most sixes. It will have its moment where it goes flat. I have no question. Playing the way that they play, they will have it, and it might be over a 2 or 3 game period. It might be in the Ashes in a few months' time. I hope not, but it might be. And it may come unstuck because it's such a risky brand of cricket, but it's exciting. It's good to watch.
Well, there's a lot spoken about Harry Brook versus spin, and people have said that probably is the only weak point, if at all, you have to find. We will find numbers to see what happened against Kolkata, against spin, where he went a little slower against spin, but even that slower was, well, I mean, 146. He was striking at 146. So
yeah, but that's also the change of the power play. The fielders out, and I think he just needs to pick his battles. You know, they talk. The big word is obviously matchups that they're always on about. But he needs to work out which spinners he can take on. So maybe when he plays today, Tekshana, with his bit of variation, hasn't quite seen him. Maybe he won't decide to take him. If Moeen Ali comes on, then he might say, okay, this is my one. I know what he does. I know how he bowls. And that's where he can try and apply himself. I mean, it's just stupidity to go out and say, well, because the stats are saying that I'm not whacking it enough, when I see the next spinner, I'm going to try and smash it out the ground. He needs to be clever in doing it. And you've got the feeling that with that head on his shoulders that he will work out something. And if the moment does present itself, he can maybe try and put that to bed. Just
one thing on Harry Brook, and very similar to Jack Callis. Sometimes it helps. He wouldn't be your first pick in a pub quiz team. You know, he's not the sharpest tool in the box, but I think that helps batting. You know, Jack Callis wasn't the sharpest tool because, you know, all the external noise and all the information. So us saying to Harry Brook, oh, your strike rate against spin, I honestly don't think it goes in. I don't think he'd be worried. He'd be like, just a white ball coming out, try and hit it to the boundary. I can't hit a boundary, I'll get a 1 or a 2. All right, I failed. All right, I'll go in the dressing room, have a cup of tea, I'll play the next game. I don't think he worries about failures or too much information from external. I think he just plays the game. It's a massive advantage. Now, when you're reading everything or seeing everything, sometimes it clogs up your mind and you start to worry. I just don't think Harry Brook, and I can only imagine Jack Callis was very similar. I never saw Jack Callis as someone that worried about anything. He looked the coolest cookie in town.
Yesterday, Harsha was telling us that in the post-match, he kind of said that all the trolls on Twitter had gotten to him before the century, and he said that was my way of answering the trolls. Oh. So that's a little contrary to what you were saying.
Oh, he's changed, Harry. I didn't have him as one of those type. Yeah, but he wouldn't be taking too much information. He really is a very simple, terrific player, great kid, and from what I've seen over the years, he certainly doesn't seem to be affected by too much. So hopefully that continues.
Well, there's someone else who's finally finding his groove for Hyderabad, and that's Mayank Agarwal, because he got that 48 in the last game. It was on the slower side, but it's just nice to see him getting those runs in. So hopefully those runs, confidence under his belt, he should have a good game today.
Yeah, it's a building block for him. I think he's obviously been struggling a little bit at the top. He gets a score, and now he'll try and build on that in this match. And yeah, I've always enjoyed him. I mean, with his international experience, you do think if he does click, it'll be pertinent for their side because they've got a good middle order. But if they're firing at the top end as well, so that's heading the right. I thought you were going down to your favourite when you started.
We will, but they're bowling first, so we will get down. We'll have a full separate chat on him.
Ajinkya is the one.
Yeah, but you've managed to get the interval extended by 10 minutes so we can talk about him, yeah?
It's all for him. Yeah. And even there's a lot. There's Conway happening there, but we'll get to their batting. Mayank Agarwal, again, who's also, I really like Mayank because he's also one of those calm heads who's extremely hardworking and he puts his head down, and if he really works hard in the net. So I know if he's not doing well, he'll be working 22 hours, if not 18 hours. So that's how hardworking he is. Very good against spin, so that should help the Brook and Mayank combination.
Yeah. So if you try and target Harry Brook with spin and Harry gets the one, you know, it's the perfect combination. That's really what you need in a partnership. You need, you know, ideally you want players that can play all the different types of bowlers equally as well, but sometimes you don't get that combination. So Harry Brook, if he's smart and he's got a spinner that he thinks, well, you know, this isn't the kind of spinner that I should be targeting, just go, thank you, there you go, you can have a go. Yeah, the spinner, he's a quality player, I think. It's, you know, T20 cricket is a hard game. It's a hard game. You don't get it right all the time. So when they have 1 or 2 games that are not quite as good as they have been, you know, we shouldn't really criticise them too much. They always come good, the good players.
Most people have 2 or 3 favourites. About 12 or 15.
I have a long list.
Who's your team, by the way?
Like I said, I'm just a fan of cricket. No teams.
Mumbai's your team?
No
Master
teams.
played for Mumbai.
No, you must have a team.
Master played for Mumbai.
Yeah, but
Wally played for Mumbai. He's a Mumbai coach, but I'm a neutral follower and neutral cricket lover. I want cricket to be the winner. I want last ball finishes. I'm team cricket.
Well, we had a last baller last night.
Oh, nearly. Not those kind of finishes. Not those kind of finishes.
Okay, no more porcupines. Let's get to the joy factor question.
We will get to him, but I want to also talk about somebody who has been very impressive is Patirana, this young kid who's come. Mini Malinga, as they call him. Actually, surprisingly, someone said that more than Mini Malinga, he's a little like Jeff Thompson because of the arm speed. So a lot of comparisons made for Mini Malinga Patirana.
Yeah, he's got a lot going for him. I mean, particularly that action and in this kind of format. I think he'll actually be better suited to bowling in Chennai than he would have been at the Chennai. But he held his nerve there, you know, when he needed to do the job. And that's another learning curve. He's got the calmness of Dhoni behind the stumps, who doesn't get too upset if it doesn't go according to plan. And have a look at that 18th over in particular was key. 4 runs that he went for, and that one. The 10 was perfect because he had to defend just slightly more than that. But yeah, I think he's trending in the right direction. So all the signs are looking good for him.
You know, Michael, there's this video going pretty viral the last 2-3 days. Apparently, Dhoni had seen some video of Patirana a few years ago when he was like 16, 17 years old. And he wrote a letter saying, I want him to play for CSK. and they couldn't get the NOC. So then when they went to UAE, he said, I want you to get vaccinated and come play for CSK. So if Dhoni is chasing somebody down so much, this man will be special.
Yeah, and if Dhoni wants you, he'll get you eventually. Somehow he'll get you over there. I think in T20 cricket, if you've got a little bit of unorthodoxy in your action, I think it helps. You know, if you've got some kind of difference, you know, have a low arm, some kind of stutter in your action, I think it really helps because the batter can't really shape up to play it. But over time, that's why Malinga really impressed me over the years, is that I always used to look at Malinga, oh, he'd get found out eventually. But he was so good at nailing that Yorker, and that slower ball Yorker that he used to get to dip, that was a genius delivery. So Mini Malinga, yeah, I like him. You know, anyone that can deliver under pressure against the RCB on that ground, on the postage stamp, on the table size outfield is remarkable. So, yeah, and what you know is, I think when you go to a franchise as a young player, you know that MS Dhoni will give you a chance, and it won't be just one chance. He'll give you a run of games. So I think he's at the perfect franchise with the perfect leader to give him the opportunity.
You know, Polly, it looks like it's your day because whatever you asked for, our producers saying we shall have it. You asked for impact players, they came right away. You're asking for the joy factor question.
I was going to save some energy for this joy factor question.
Yeah, it's coming in
I bet
right
you can't
away.
get it.
Oh, which
Indian spinner took 5 wickets in an innings in his very first test while opening the bowling?
Oh, I know that.
Is it not?
I think I know that.
I think I could have a chance too.
Yeah.
All right, so clearly the answer seems to be very easy today because
we don't know if it's the right answer.
Experts know it. But if they both seem to know it, I'm sure we've already gotten our answers. So if you all haven't, please quickly write in your answers and tell us who you think it is. We will now go to that game, which Michael did very well with yesterday. Polly did very well the day you came in. I've been struggling. I just can't get it. So we'll go for the prediction game. And
Do you want to go first?
all right. I like going second because then you know where it goes, but I'll go first. So Hyderabad batting in Chepauk. I'm going to go with 177.
I'm only going to go 167.
186.
Wow. Oh. Harry Brooks there.
Harry B.
That's why it's 186.
HB.
We'll wait and see what happens. 186, 177, 167. Those are our numbers. Someone's clearly really rooting for Harry Brook. We'll wait and see what happens. Don't forget to join us at the 10 over point at the Cricbuzz Combox.
Jaipur via Kota.
कृपया ध्यान आपको अहमदाबाद
दिल्ली में आपका स्वागत
Lucknow Junction,
ನಿಲ್ದಾಣದ ಕಡೆಗೆ ಹೊರಟಿರುವರೆ ಚೆನ್ನೈ ತಿರುಚಿರಾಪಳ್ಳಿ
Hyderabad Superfast Express পরবর্তী স্টেশন নেতাজি ভবন। कृपया ध्यान दें